my presentation. You can start sharing. Today I'm talking about Linux desktop environments, which is sort of security related, but actually not at all. So welcome to DevSec. So I want you to close your eyes and imagine a Linux user. Well, too late, I guess.
Oh, so hot, so sexy.
This is probably what you picture.
Oh, that guy, yeah.
Average Linux user. Probably imagine like terminal flying, typing, terminal screens. The reality is, Linux users like GUIs too. We like to make them cool. So this is kind of an example of like a default like GNOME environment that you would get like right out of the box installing Linux. But with something we call ricing, you can make it look extra spicy and look something like one of these. I just want to take a second to.
Hey, wait a minute.
Does it look familiar?
It's Hannah Montana Linux now.
Yeah. So some of those are cool, and you can't. Obviously, you can't like do that on Windows. So like again, Linux is better than everything.
What operating system are you running?
Was that
What operating system are you running?
Top right.
me? On this? Okay, I'm running Windows. But okay, I run Linux on my actual computer.
Had a weekend to kill.
But anyways, yeah, pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So obligatory CCDC tie-in since this is DevSec. It's actually like super easy to install like a simple like GUI. So I don't know if you've ever like done Linux like in a mock or anything, and you wind up with like that guy, and your life is miserable because it's just a stupid black screen and you can't do anything with it. But actually, it's just as simple as like apt install desktop environment names like xfce4, and you wind up with that. So it's actually super easy to turn that into an actual working desktop environment. So super useful if you need to like enumerate services like in a GUI when you're on Linux. And then here's just a couple pictures of like some of the more popular desktop environments in the Linux world. Yeah, GDM, Budgie, xfce4. I used Budgie for a while. I like that one of kind of the generic ones. So then in the back end of the desktop environments is used, we use the X server, at least traditionally. Although this was made in 1984, so it's starting to get up there in age and sort of dated. But the fun part about this is it uses this sort of a client server model for the display, which you wouldn't really expect out of a display, right? So, but the cool thing about that is you can render something on a remote system, like just because, why not? But the problem with X11 specifically is that there's no app isolation between the rendered applications. So if someone installs like a keylogger, they can log all the keys across all your different applications instead of just that process or like that application. So that's kind of a problem with that one. And then there's the newer implementation called Wayland, which is actually super cool. Also uses that sort of client-server model, but kind of has some more new up-to-date changes, since again, the X11 was made in 1984. For X11, the rendering doesn't happen client-side, but Wayland it does. And then we get rid of that security issue where applications are isolated in Wayland, which is another benefit. And my favorite part about Wayland is that there is no screen tearing. If you've ever used Linux for more than like 5 minutes, you've probably encountered, or like you watch movies or something, you've encountered tons of screen tearing, which is a huge pain. So that's no longer a thing with Wayland. There are some cons, however, mostly due to because it's sort of new, as you would expect. Not stable, there's some kind of issues that'll pop up since it's still in the newer phases. Screen sharing is kind of a pain. People who've probably called me over Discord have probably waited 20 minutes for me to get something set up. Austin is not in for it, yeah. And then NVIDIA driver support is not great for Wayland, so go AMD. So you can also set some custom lock screens in your desktop environments. I meant to make these bigger. But, so on the right here is sway lock, or on your left. Directions are hard. So sway lock's right there, which is pretty cool. it does like this little green circle thing. And it kind of makes it harder to tell how long your characters are, or see the dots as you're typing them, as you would like a generic sort of password screen. And execure lock is sort of the same on the other side, except it kind of just does a straight line and goes kind of all over the place. So those are kind of cool. And another like very desperate attempt to try to make this sort of security related. Now I want to get into tiling managers, which is where I'm kind of going to move the presentation more. So tiling managers are pretty dope. They're sort of like tmucks, but like for actual like applications. So like just think of all the benefits of tmucks where you can kind of split stuff, kind of like multiple views. But like tiling managers do a lot of that like automatically. It requires a lot of like configuration to sort of get set up. But once you do, it like changes your life. So a few of the popular ones, I've used BSPWM in the past. Now that I've moved to Wayland, I use Sway. And then there's also i3, which is very popular as well. But both i3 and BSPWM run on X11. So now I want to move into a demo on how to set some of this stuff up. If you guys want to follow along and have like a Linux VM, or even better, a Linux host, because you're cool, and want to follow along, let's go ahead and set up. I'm going to try to set up Sway here, just on a VM. So the fun part here that I spent, I was up till 3 debugging this issue, is if you set up Sway on a VM, you have to enable 3D guest acceleration. Why? I have no idea.
It's kind of cringe. Are you using like VirtualBox or what are you using for that?
I was using VMware.
I don't know how to enable that on VMware, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'll show you real quick. Is it gonna?
Open up VirtualBox.
So, I'm just using the player because I'm bored.
Oh, me too.
So you go over to display and then click accelerate 3D graphics.
Okay, cool.
Again, I have no idea why you have to do this because it's not like you're doing some complex like rendering thing.
It's weird. I've had that issue too. Yeah, with
but-
like Windows.
That'll happen. So if you start up your VM, any data. Any questions so far? Kind
Why?
of breezed through the presentation. What was that?
Why?
Why?
Yes.
Why what?
Why did it change your life?
Why did it change my life? Because I don't need my mouse anymore. I just use my little keyboard and just like, you know, don't have to deal with that. Oh yeah. So just out of curiosity, how many people have used like a tiling manager before? Daniel. Cool. So of course we're launching into tmux straight away. So first things first, it's a pretty simple installation actually. So we're just going to do sudo apt install. I'm going to list a whole bunch of things here to install. So I'm going to do sway, waybar, wofi, let's get that one, sway lock. So sway is the tiling manager itself. Waybar is like what we'll use to configure like the top bar thing. Wofi is like sort of a launcher, so like kind of one of these things where you type an application like Firefox and then it opens. And then sway lock is that lock screen thing I was showing you earlier. So we'll install all of those. You can see that.
Dick, there's a lot of people here that were just blown away by the fact that you can install multiple things at one time with app. It's unbelievable.
Like what? Fake news, fake news.
I didn't need to be
It's this
called
fork
out
of
like this,
app that
Michael.
lets him install multiple things.
That was very speaking for a friend of you right there.
What if I like to watch all the things getting installed individually?
Okay, so now we have that all installed. So we need to make the config file. Oops. So we'll cd into .config, and we'll just do a make dir sway, and we'll do make dir waybar. So those are the only two that need configs right away. And then it should ship with the default config that we can cp, etc sway config. Copy that into sway. I can't type. And then you can copy the default waybar. Copy that into the waybar directory that we just made. Oops. Put a star right here. I'll show you what was in there. For the waybar, there was a config and a style.css. So writing the waybar is actually like kind of, it's sort of simple. I mean, if you want to do more complex things, but like it's literally a .css file, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen before, hopefully. So you got like your colors here. You set that. The real meat here is, let me go back. CD into, if you guys are still following along, you want to CD into .config sway. Is everyone still following right? Dylan, did I lose you? I'm back. I saw a hand. Jackson? Was that Michael?
This is Michael.
It was me. I'm trying to follow along.
You doing okay?
Yeah, I missed the thing where you, oh, I misspelled it, never mind. But he was just so blown away by it. I mean someone was so blown away by the whole
I'm still trying to get over the installing multiple things at a time part.
Yeah, like that's just a very large, just something to drop there, like, takes a while to get used to living with that knowledge.
I was crippled at the knees when I first discovered that. From the knees down. Yeah.
That is very different than being surprised.
We all deal with it in different ways.
I used two in case I
Got a blue parking tag after you found out.
Okay, I'm just gonna assume everyone is following along, even though no one is probably.
Don't worry about it.
So this is the fun part, is setting like our key bindings. So let me scroll down my cheat sheet here. Oh yeah, so let's set our launcher right away. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna install Pimp real quick. Just so I have some pretty colors. So Pimp, config, there we go. So we're gonna set this menu variable to use the wo-fi thing we installed, which is our launcher. So I'm gonna do set menu wo-fi tac show run. What else do we want to set? Do we want to get a wallpaper? That would be fun. Any suggestions? Wallpaper? Sonic?
Yeah, do that one.
Jake, can you go slower? You lost some people.
Was that?
You lost some people. Can you go back over the thing you just did?
Oh.
Downloading Linux.
The config thing? Are there online people?
Which config was that?
Oh, oh, yes. So config, if you just do home.config.
Sway, so.
config, sway, and then config. So that whole path right there. So you're gonna wanna set this, it should have been set to, it was set to something else, but, so you see this set menu thing? You wanna do it set menu wofi, tac show run. Good? Excellent work.
Do it.
This would be the second presentation, I promise you'll have something. Cool. So now, I really wanna get my Sonic wallpaper. Galen will stop me no further. Where did my mouse go?
To make sure you have safe search on, right?
Don't worry about it.
I cannot imagine that the
Nobody
top
on
results
the
would be
internet would do
problematic.
such a thing.
Alright, which one do you guys like?
Like the
That's a
middle
tough
right.
question.
Subject
Mid-
matter.
Far
Right.
right
This
in
one?
the middle row. That
far
one or
right.
the
That
that
one?
one?
This one.
Yeah.
The one that gets
Jazzy.
us sued.
Jackson wins. Okay. Let's just call it Sonic.jpg.
I'm really focused down on the actual image.
You still have that.
Heal me out here.
Sure, for what?
I think my data box connects to
Sonic.
That's kind of a problem, okay.
Was that-
The
that was
ILS?
awesome.
Yeah.
That's kind of strange, did you check out the network interface?
I just.
Yeah, I'm in the network.
So
Just
we're gonna-
what
if you have a background picked up, there's a default one, so you don't really need to do this stuff.
connected.
But if you want to do a background,
No, it doesn't even
Um,
have to. Is there like a?
go back into the config.
Oh, you're supposed to have like a router or something?
Am I supposed to have a router?
All
I
this,
think so.
It says I'm connected, like, isn't eCloud internet the?
and then give it the path of the picture you want to use. So-
Actually, that's a good question for maybe Jack, because he actually probably deploys his
We have-
own.
We have Jack's son.
And that will also
How to do
work.
a single.
Maybe he doesn't,
Cool.
but also I've never
I
done
think
this
that's
before.
good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so maybe just you have to go through captive portal or something.
You don't need to change the background if you don't want to.
You tried opening it.
Doesn't have to be
As much as you want, yeah.
I've got a-
You
I've got a
don't have to
different
choose Sonic
picture.
too, you can choose like Mario, you can choose like
That would be one.
Minecraft?
Movie.
Do you have spaces in the background?
Yeah, I did the Minecraft.
Can there be
They never
spaces
did
in the
that.
background
They never-
path?
Did you guys ever do the Minecraft inject?
The background path? Oh,
I think that we did.
probably put quotes around them, yeah, that's good. Any other questions? Alright. So let's launch into this and pray that it works. Because I haven't tested it on this computer yet, which is a mistake.
Maybe it's because.
So you can just go up and go to log out, or however you log out on your
Well,
distro.
not on
And moment of truth.
you need to.
To launch into another desktop environment, you go to, on a Boon Japanese, you go to the bottom right here. And then Sway should now pop up.
Whenever you want to.
And enter your password.
In a browser. The problem is like.
Yeah.
Let's go! There it is!
Let's go, baby.
So.
You log out or just log?
So if I had another machine.
If you had a
I-
GUI machine.
Oh, let's go.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so we got light theme terminal.
Then everything on the
Let's
network
go.
is very.
Yes.
Something.
Okay.
Which
Oh,
is stupid. There
And
must be
another
a way
fun
to
quirk
do
I discovered last night too. In VMs, the mouse does not like to work, which is a fun feature.
Good thing that you like using the keyboard.
Exactly, you don't even need the mouse, so.
It's also good training.
But if we actually wanna make this work, then.
Comic Sans terminal. Yes.
Okay, there we go. As much as you like that theme, Michael, I just couldn't do it. I know you're a light theme guy.
Disgusting.
You can leave
Okay,
now.
so let's check out some more key bindings. So what I did to launch my terminals is I just did Windows key enter. Oops. Yeah, Windows key enter.
a Linux key?
Yeah. Just replace it with a penguin.
It's called meta or super.
Yeah, the super key, whatever. So enter. B plus enter. Oh, return. Yeah. So this is the line that starts our terminal upon doing the super key plus enter. So this is sort of the general syntax for like basically everything. So you do like bind sim. The mod key, you can set that to be anything. It's set with a variable right now to be just that Windows or super key. And then you do plus, and then whatever key you want to pair it with. So Windows plus return will do exec term, so it'll just launch a terminal. And if you're curious on like, so most of the key names are straightforward, but if you need to like figure out the name of one, let's see if I remember the name of the, is it Zev? Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh boy. So that screws some stuff up. Okay, if you go into this window, you type a key, so if I hit enter. Never mind. It theoretically works. Some stuff is just kind of broken because of this. Ah. Cool. Hi, Sonic. What else do we want to do? So this like the blue sort of border there on the top is there by default, but I don't like that as much. Might be a hot take, I don't know. But you can get rid of that with we do default underscore border none. And then I like to have gaps like between my windows. So if you do like gaps in your 10, that'll add let's make it 15. That'll add gaps. Fortunately, for this one you have to exit to get it to work. So we'll just log back in. So now,
Beautiful.
so that kind of looks kind of cool, right? So like, now if you do it, you open like terminals, they'll kind of open and they have like a little bit of spacing in between them,
They're
which looks kind of neat. They do my obligatory EO fetch. Oh.
Jake is slowly becoming Steve Jobs.
Shut the hell up.
It's
Wait, am I on?
floating now. Can it get curved edges too?
Was that?
Curved corners?
You can do that in like other ones. I don't think that's supported like in Wayland though. But I know like i3 and BSPWM you can do that. But that looks kind of cool when you do that. Yeah.
How do you get to the captive?
Any other questions?
Just do like
Captive.
captive or something
You can
like
do
that.
that.
Captive.apple.com
That also works.
is the one that's consistently worked
There's
for
a
me.
whole bunch of them that'll
Or
work.
we do-
Oh man.
Type in the codes for Island.
So setting the key bindings here is kind of the real huge assistance. Is so what else do we do? So I'm gonna set the bindings for, you can do workspaces here too. But by default it does up to 10 workspaces, and I'm not productive enough to need 10 workspaces. So I'm just gonna like remove a couple of them. I'm gonna change the key binding for them too. Probably break some things along the way. So instead of like, so by default it does mod key plus number to go to your workspace. But that's like a long reach. Like I'm gonna develop like some sort of like hand deficiency or whatever if I have to reach that far. So I'm gonna set it instead to like mod plus ZXCF for like 1 through 4. plus C, mod plus X, mod plus C, mod plus B. And the fun part here is, let me fix that one too. So then mod shift C, X, C, and B will move an application to another workspace. So I'm gonna set those ones to the same keys. Z, X, C, and B. Approve. The only problem now is I guarantee you I overlapped a couple of the bindings, so let's see. Mod plus X, mod plus C. Okay, that one. I'll just comment that one out for right now. That's probably not what I would actually do if I was configuring this. I think we're good. Let me reload it. You can reload your config with Windows Shift C. That's the default binding, and I have errors. Overwrote mod Shift C. Oh, it's funny, I was just talking about that binding. Let's change it to mod Shift T. Is that taken? No, it isn't. Cool. So let's reload now. Jesus. Alright, that should work. Mod Shift T. Okay, that works. Okay, so we just successfully changed that one. So now what we did is we just enabled our workspaces. So let's say, oh, one more thing I want to change actually first. Oh. I don't need this in the terminal. No. Cool. What did I just do? I think I just locked my screen. Okay. That's awkward.
Don't worry, Jake. I did the same thing when I messed up the path for the config, and then it
Is there
didn't have a
no,
config to
I
load.
assume there's the, what is the default lock screen thing? Does anyone, Shane?
Audio?
Do you know what the default lock screen is?
How did you get out of it, or you just
Accidentally Windows
had to
L.
restart? Oh.
Was that?
It's way locked, isn't it?
I don't think it's, I'm not getting any like display here.
Are you sure you pressed? I don't think Windows L is locked by default.
Weird. Let me,
Guys,
see if I can fix that real quick.
you were able to get into that captive portal.
Yeah, no, I got it on the other machine.
Alright,
Works without it.
Yeah, no, so like, I got this
What does it say?
success.
Oh. That's weird.
But like it's still won't let, like after restarting on the other machine, I
Okay,
tried pinging.
Wait, so like, you get this VM, what's the other one? Do
That's weird.
you mind if I
Can I
look
go
at
to
it?
Google now?
Mind if so that works then?
Yeah, this works, but I go to the other VM after restarting after I did that.
What it might be is all of the VFs that I've like been told that for, it might be that they have like a router machine that then does like inside NAT or like dynamic NAT, to where the IP address that's getting the internet access is only a single one that's then shared to all the ones.
It's like the Windows thing, like use the like let other people like
Do like
I don't know what I'm talking about.
air connect something, is a command to connect to that.
That's probably it. So I'm not sure what to do for that, sorry.
It's alright.
jeez. Okay, it doesn't want to come back. Are you guys interested in seeing more, or do you guys want to call it there?
You failed to install NeoFetch.
Oh shoot, no, it's lost. never to be found. It pops up when I don't project, so which is very useful.
Is it on like a second screen?
It probably is. Oh, I got something.
If you're on Windows and you click on the window, or like open up the window for that VMware thing,
Yeah.
and then press Windows key and the right arrow a bunch of times, try that for a bit, and if that doesn't work, try the left arrow a bunch of times. And it should try it.
What is this trouble?
It's supposed to snap the window to the right side of whatever monitor it's on, and then if
Interesting.
you do it again, it's supposed to snap it to like the right side of the next monitor.
Try swiping up with 4 fingers.
And that could work too, or you can do Windows Tab and it'll accomplish the same thing. Oh. Oh no.
No, it's all the way to
Yeah,
the
so
right.
it's on another monitor, somewhere.
Somewhere. An imaginary monitor.
Yeah.
Rough. Okay, well. We tried our best.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, throw.
Alright, I'm gonna call it there for the stream. I'll see if I can fix this, but.
Can you turn the machines back on?
Okay.
Try something.
Alright.
Do I need to log in